Been in our huma grow program since 2006. You realize that this is your 5th year you're into the middle of this.
That's right. I'm 5 years old.
Yeah. What made you decide to try to use huma grow? What was I that good a salesman, or what happened?
Well, I guess a combination of both.
Oh well, I'm not a good salesman. We have the world's best customers.
No, you're a good salesman, Charlie. But out of desperation, I got started using commercial fertilizer when I bought the place way back in the 70s. Couldn't use it all because that's what everybody did, didn't know any better. And then put icing on the cake. I worked for a large chemical plant, and we made ammonium sulfate as a byproduct. And back in the early 80s, they let us have it almost like for free, $5 a ton for floor sweetness. The barns were running over, and they were glad to see somebody haul it out of there. It was tempting. Bought me a 3-axle gooseneck trailer and a 1-ton flatbed truck. They built me a big box on it, and I started hauling ammonium sulfate. And I killed my land. And then back in the 90s, I was putting out lime, phosphate, and potash. And I just could not bring it back. And back in '06, when I met you, I got the literature on it, and I read the literature, and what you told me, I said, I believe this is that's what I've been looking for. So that's when I began in the fall of '06. I started out with 10 gallons a day because I knew I was in trouble. The regular recipe I didn't think would fit me. So in the fall of '06, I put out 10 gallons of huma grow per acre. And in the spring, when I came out, after I cut my phosphate and potash in half, and I come out then and when the grass started getting green, instead of 3 or 4 tons of nitrogen, 3200, I came out with half of what I've been putting out. And I added another 10 gallons of huma grow to my liquid fertilizer. And in the summer of '07, I made over 300 round bales. The grass just grew, quality grass. I got some pictures I can show y'all later. In these meadows when I cut them. And that saved me through the 2 years of the drought in '07 and really in '08 and '09 when we had the bad drought. I started out over 400 round bales, and right now I'm down to about 100, maybe 150. Along with irrigating and everything I could do, because you had to give our cattle away. Didn't want to, like the recipe. But the huma grow is what I credit brought me out. The land, I had land down there on that flat down there. The boy was irrigating. This thing was putting out 6-7 gallons per acre. And I went down and water was running out of the field. The ground was like slate. It could not take the water. And that he said, I'm in trouble. So after using the huma grow, it's like pulverized. It's like yeast and bread. The soil like puffed up. I could go down there with a shovel and dig out. I started finding earthworm. And I know from the literature it's growing microbes, which I can't see. And that really sold me on huma grow, and I've been a faithful user of it ever since.
Well, Bob, then it's performed every way you expected it to perform 5 years ago.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And I found out through the years after and then in the fall of '07, I came back with another 10 gallons. So that gives me 30 gallons of huma grow in approximately 12 months, a little more.
Right.
And so then I started cutting back. And I cut back most of the time with 4 gallons instead of 10, 4 to 5 twice a year in my hay meadows. And the pastures where I run my cattle, I get a lot of manure. I drag my manure, and I found that I could cut back. And most of the pastures where I run the cattle, I get a lot of manure and do a lot of feeding. I go once a year with 5 gallons.
Once a year, 5 gallons. How does your country compare to your neighbors?
Well, that was the very put the icing on the cake again. To say during the drought, my grass was suffering. Don't get me wrong, it was suffering, but it was growing and it didn't die. When the neighbors' pasture turned to deserts, a lot of them still don't have any grass out there. They just died away. And like when the shower rain would come, we did get a few showers. It would green up. You could see it would green up. It had a healthy root system, and that's another great advantage of it.
Well, you converted several of your neighbors to huma grow. Have they
Yes,
all been happy? Or?
Yes, I have. I certainly have. I haven't had one that I sold huma grow to and used it that hasn't come back. They've come back.
And they're all getting the same kind of results?
They're all happy with it. Very happy with it. We're country people. We don't have money to throw away, and if we don't get results, we don't use it.
You know, Bob, we're stewards of this land. We're just here for a short time. Do you feel as though you're leaving this land in better shape than it was when you found it?
I think I am. In fact, I know I am. You know, I come up out of the dirt. I was born and raised in the country, plowed behind the old mules back in the 30s, and my dad was a survivor. He raised 8 kids on a sandland farm. I know about the soil, and you have to take care of the soil. You take care of the soil, it will take care of you. And I feel like I have a feel for it, and I'm happy with what I'm doing. Before I knew I was killing it, but it was so tempting, I kept on. I needed the grass, I needed the money, and
almost bargained yourself to death.
Almost bargained myself to death.
Well, back to huma grow, Bob. Was it easy to apply? Did you have? I mean, is it user friendly for you? Did you?
Charlie, I have to admit, to start out with, it was very difficult. I didn't have a distributor. I had to rent a distributor. I wanted to put out 10 gallons an acre. Sometimes I put out 5, sometimes I put out 15. And I said, this just ain't gonna work. So I bought me a distributor. It was hard. I bought it used. It was broke down. And I got help to weld it all back and bought me a new pump. That new pump hurt. It was about $2,700. But I got a good rig, and I set that thing now on 10 gallons an acre. That's what I get, because I got a new metering pump. That's the heart of the whole thing. So
the first year. Well, it won't burn anything, will it? It won't.
No, it will not burn. I can show you up there where I unload it. Sometimes it'll just be a spot like this where the hose dumps out. It will not burn, and that's the best grass in the pasture.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think you can put too much.
I don't believe so either, but
maybe.
It's economics that you can't put too much anyway.
That's exactly right. Yeah. You're not going to put too much for the economics of it.
You pretty much described your soil conditions already, but you know, you've got real good tilth now, and you've got good aeration, and you've got earthworms coming back. I'm sitting out here, we're sitting here looking over his pastures now, and they're beautiful. And it's just, you know, that's kind of self-explanatory, isn't it, Bob? I remember seeing this place in '06, and didn't look like this, I'll tell you.
It certainly did. It looks beautiful, and we could continue to get in the water, you know, nothing without water.
Oh, well. Well, Bob, I tell you what, I couldn't ask for a better customer. You've been one of my longest customers. And it's been a real pleasure working with you all these years. And look forward to many, many more. And you just don't know how much congratulations I have for you, and thank you so much for all your time that you spent looking and fiddling with our huma grow. And of course now you know we have a fulva grow, yes, which is your small molecule, which we're looking forward to you using that in the next few years.
And this is what you basically recommend spraying on.
That's right.
Well, I got a spray rig, and I'm definitely going to try.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to using it.